Hey, this is Vinny. I just wanted to inform you that your comments may or may not be shown on screen tonight. Good evening, everybody. All my Facebook friends. By the way, I've got to say, last night was my birthday, and they had a birthday party for me. Most of the people there were from Facebook. And I have to say, we had a wonderful party. We had lovely people. And I'm really excited about that. And a lot of them are interested in going to my book signing parties, which will be announced on Facebook. And that's all the good things I could say for now. Okay. Now we're going to talk about Biden's crimes. Now, the other day I put a posting about that, and I got all these. There's not that many pro-Biden people on Facebook, but a couple of them said, "Oh, what about Trump's crimes?" I said, wait, we're talking about now, not before. And by the way, I also said all those crimes that he allegedly committed were never proven. You know, this impeachment didn't go through. On 2 impeachments, and neither one got because the Democratic Congress, but they didn't have the Democratic thing. So, what do you call says we don't have enough time to go over Biden's crimes. Well, that's true. We're going to try to do as much as we can. By the way, Biden has been in Congress. I mean, in politics, especially the Senate, for over 47 years. What has he done? Nothing. He gets reelected because the people in Delaware, I don't want to say anything bad about people in Delaware. It's a small state, very liberal state, and he just gets, you know. And by the way, Tucker Carlson made a whole big thing about his wife, Jill, who she's a doctor, but she's a doctor of education, which is nice. But she got it on one of these Delaware universities that he's questioning her credentials, he's questioning her dissertation. Was really horrible. Matter of fact, I didn't read it, but it was supposed to be. But we're not talking about his wife, even though she's helping him all the time because she goes to these conferences with him. She tries to prop him up because he's Sleepy Joe, Crippy Joe. As a matter of fact, the other day he went to some veterans thing and he was like fawning over a 9-year-old girl saying that she looked 19. The guy's creepy. There's no 2 ways about it. Demented, creepy. And, you know, I as an investigator, I worked for the State Board of Medicine. I investigated doctors who became demented or mentally deranged, whatever you want to call it, in their 70s, 80s. And what happens is with doctors, like anybody else, I mean, they're not any different than anyone else. But that was my jurisdiction. And what I noticed that they start doing stupid things like that, you know, being I guess senile, making remarks to women inappropriate, and I think Biden is falling into that category. Well, one of the crimes that I think he's committed, well, there's a couple of crimes. First of all, we're going to talk about Hunter Biden tonight. I mean, Hunter Biden is. By the way, you know, he tried to get a reality show in 2019 based on his father running for president, and that he felt that he could get some sort of I don't know what you want to call it. He spoke to a couple of producers, and I guess they didn't go with it. I guess they realized he's a crackhead, he's a junkie, and he's not a reliable person. But that being said, one of Biden's crimes is giving all this money to the Palestinian Authority. Now, the Palestinian Authority was taken over by Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. By the way, BLM, which I believe is a terrorist organization, is supporting Hamas. So birds of a feather flock together. And he wants to give another, I heard allegedly another $360 million to Hamas. Now, I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up, I had friends that fell into the narcotics thing, shooting drugs and stuff like that. So whenever your friend asks you for $10 or $5, you know he's going to use it for drugs. Well, when a terrorist asks you for money, you know they're going to use it for weapons. And that's obvious. And 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, they started bombing Israel. Now, Israel has this iron dome that's very, very effective. And yet, the liberal and the left, and even people in Biden's administration, were bemoaning the fact that the Israelis were fighting back. I mean, I don't understand. When someone shoots you, you shoot them back. And the Hamas they're cowards. They shoot from residential areas, hoping that the Israelis will not follow through. But they do sometimes, and unfortunately, some people. And then they blame the Israelis for that. Obviously, I'm pro-Israeli. Okay, but and I'm not against Hamas, but I'm against any terrorist organization that tries to kill people. Very simple. Now, Biden also here's another that in itself is a crime, but he's not going to be charged with that. Another crime, and this is funny because for 4 years they claimed that Trump was in collusion with the Russians. Now, Trump kept the Russians at bay. He also had sanctions against their pipeline going to Germany. And Biden overrode that with his executive order. He's letting it go through. Also, what is his involvement with Russia? Now, he lifted the sanctions, and I wonder how much money his people are making. Now, you know, he's been involved with Ukraine, Burisma. His son was on the board, getting $83,000 a month. And then when his father did not become vice president, they knocked his salary down to $43,500. Okay. That's some sort of an indication. Now, let's be very frank. Anybody who has a connection, for example, I work for the government. So if I had a rabbi or a godfather, as we call them, I would go to him and say, listen, you know, there's a promotion coming up, and I didn't get it. You know, I want to, you know, maybe you could do something. Police department, that's common. The guy's a second grade detective. He's got a friend that's a chief. He's got a cousin that's a deputy inspector who's got some pull. He says, hey, you know, maybe you could put me on the next list. And they do it. It's common. It's common in every industry. Now, as a private investigator, I had a company. I had a very successful company. And every once in a while, I would meet somebody and they would say, you know who I got? I know so-and-so. He's the CEO of this company that needs investigators. So I said, well, listen, let's have dinner with him. That is common. Now, when you're in a position of vice president or senator, that's a conflict of interest. Now, the Daily, not the Daily News, but the Post put a whole thing about the dinner that Biden and Hunter had with these people. And these are on his laptop. The laptop that the FBI has had for at least 2 or 3 years have done nothing for him. Nothing. Why? Because mainstream media has been covering it down. The only one that brought anything up was New York Post. And they actually on Twitter and I think Facebook, they got cut off. This just shows the criminality of this administration. They keep saying about Trump's administration. I'm talking about now, not Trump. Everybody, you know, all these bleeding heart liberals go on Facebook with me and say, oh, you know, what about Trump? What about Trump? Hey, I'm not talking about Trump. You tried to get him. You didn't get him. Maybe you'll get him for something else. Oh, by the way, they're trying to get him for his taxes. They got a grand jury in Manhattan, DA. Manhattan DA praised Trump years ago before he became president. Once he became president, then now he's a bad guy. Okay. So they're talking about his taxes. They finally got his taxes. And it's funny because I'm a certified fraud examiner. My job was to find fraud and to find. Now, I barely looked at his tax returns, but the 2 years he paid over taxes, so that the year that he paid only $750, he has a prepayment carried forward, which is common in business. I've known a lot of companies that do that. And, you know, if you have a lot of money and you're doing well one year, sometimes you do a little extra, you pay extra, hoping that the next year, if it's not as good, you're covered. And that's what he did. Okay. Now, the other thing that, by the way, a lot of the people that voted for Biden, some of these unions, especially in the energy field, are feeling buyer's remorse. The pipeline, I don't know how many thousand jobs. Um, uh, okay. Oh boy, James Edstrom. Boy, I finally got James Edstrom to even make comments. Oh my God, Ed, James, I am so glad that you are on our show, at least in spirit, not physically. But you need 20 shows for Trump's crimes. No one has done more crimes than Trump. But thank you for Fox fake news comment. Well, I don't know if it's a fake news comment. Uh, I was in law enforcement when I prosecuted somebody. I had to prove it. They have not proven Trump's crimes. Okay, we have 4 years. 4 years they've been trying to get him. The Russian collusion didn't work. $40 million. Mueller, who should be investigated himself, when he was a U.S. attorney in Massachusetts, the things that he did, he's gonna what? But there's a place in hell for him. Okay, he put innocent people in jail just to further his agenda. I mean, it's unbelievable. Okay, I'm gonna bring out a few more things. Then we're gonna have our guest come on. Biden is hindering our U.S. energy. He shut down. He's actually importing minerals that we can mine ourselves, and it's for ecology. It's for the environment. Well, guess what? Those things are going up. Everything is going up under his administration. There's nothing, Ed. Joe, you're going to talk about this. I'm sure you're going to. Whatever I forget, you're going to bring on. But James Edstrom, tell me one thing that Biden did good. He screwed up the border. The border is disastrous. He doesn't even want to go there. What president does not go to a crisis, or let's say it's not, even he admitted it's a crisis, but let's say before he said it wasn't a crisis. Kamala Harris, they're afraid to go there because they're going to see what really is going on. All right, let's bring on, we got some good people on tonight. My regular guests are very intelligent, and some of our customers, not customers. I keep thinking about the business. Yeah, my customers.
What are we selling?
I'm selling good nature. I don't know. I'm trying to sell something. I don't know. Okay, who wants to go? Who wants to get me out of this mess here?
Oh no, I like watching you squirm. I'm going to sit back and watch this. Are you kidding?
No, we definitely need to get that guy on the show. What's his name again? I'm sorry.
James.
The comments are scrolling so fast I can't see it. Oh, James Edstrom. James, please come on the show.
He's afraid you're gonna wait. You see this message? He's afraid he'll be stacked against him. That's the problem with liberals. They were afraid.
No. Listen,
he's a nice, by the way. He's a very nice man. He's misinformed. And we got Los Angeles Mal. Oh, I love you guys. Okay, she was at the party list. By the way, a lot of the people that watched the show were at the party last night. But Courtney, you were in California. Ed was there, and Joe had.
And I had my tux all ready. And if you don't believe me, I'll bring it out and show it to you because I got to send it back.
I want to listen.
He's got a lot of excuses.
We're talking about evidence. I want to see evidence that you had a tuxedo.
My car was in the shop.
Okay, you know what, James? You don't have to worry about the show being stacked against you because there's no Trump or Biden supporters here. We're just all supporters of truth, whichever way it goes. So, if you have something that you can bring that is part of the truth and not this, like you said, Fox rhetoric bullshit, we'll be more than happy to sit there and go, you're right. But so far, all we get is he's no good, and that's it. I got a post. Somebody posted a post for me. And look, she'll even hold your hand. Wait, I want my hand held.
I'm sorry. I'm cracking up here.
By the way, my daughter's a very good friend with him. So am I. I'm really good friends with him. He's a good guy.
Listen, everybody needs at least one.
James.
Everybody.
I want to hold my hand. All right. So the post, which I thought was very interesting, it was a little meme, and it said Joe's stats. And it says, no golf trips, no insults, no racist rhetoric, no whining, no complaining, no bragging, no blaming, no hate speech, and no crazy tweets. And they forgot one, no memory.
No, wait, no, they forgot a lot. No performance.
I mean, well, listen. First of all, he can barely walk, so he's not going to do any golf trips. His insults was, if anybody ever followed him over the course of his years, he's been insulting people for 100 years. I mean, he was one of the most anti-black people around. He's even wrote that he was really against segregation, and so you can't say no racial rhetoric, no whining. He's complained. Come on, man.
Yeah,
He complains more than
You ain't black
anybody.
if you don't vote for me. That thing.
Right. No bragging. Of course, there's no bragging because he hasn't done anything to brag about. No blaming. Again, he just ignores everything. So that how are you going to blame it? No hate speech. We've already just covered that. And no crazy tweets. The guy doesn't even know how to pick up a phone. How is he going to make a tweet? So this is what the problem we have.
Can we have Joe Biden on the show?
People are blind. They don't want to pay attention. They want to believe what they want to believe for whatever reason it is, because it's easier to hate somebody than it is to admit they were wrong.
Nope.
I mean, look at what's going on with this whole pandemic stuff. Now, all of a sudden, everything that was said in the beginning is starting to come out true, and people are saying, "Oh, we never said that. We never." No. Yes.
Yeah, right.
So now it's like, well, maybe it is a lab leak, and then Fauci's going, well, yeah, I lied to you, but I really didn't lie to you. We need to.
Yeah, it was for your own good.
By the way, just in case anybody knows who might be listening to this, Fauci's the same person when the AIDS epidemic started, Mr. AIDS, who turned around and said that you can catch AIDS by sitting next to somebody.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, he did a lot more than that. I mean,
he has a lot of false statements. He does that. But everybody listens to him because he's supposed to be the man when it comes to.
No, listen, guys. You want to hear another good one? Can I just jump in here because I'm just going to jump in and feed the liberals a little bit, okay? So I was watching Tucker. You want to talk about Tucker? I know that our pal over here, James, is probably going to love this one. But so you know how the Democrats now are starting to say that if you're not vaccinated, you're going to suffer, right? So if you don't have your vaccine, they're going to want to see your card. Now they're talking about a bracelet, all this other stuff. And they're saying that it was on CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC. Every single one of the stations were saying that the predominant group of people that is against getting vaccines or showing that they have proof of vaccination are white Republican males. Then you bring up the actual numbers of the highest number of people that are not getting vaccinated, and it's black African Americans. So, translated loosely for James over there is they're actually setting in motion discrimination against African Americans. Period. End of story. So you're not going to be able to go to the movies. You're not going to be able to get on a plane. You're not going to be able to use the same water fountain or get on the bus or whatever if you don't have vaccination and show it. And the largest population of unvaccinated people right now who choose to be unvaccinated are black African-American males. And so what's going to happen? You're going to have the 1920s all over again. Thank you very much.
I have one word for why that's happening. It's called Tuskegee. They remember that.
What is it called?
Tuskegee.
Yeah.
Never heard of that before.
Oh, yes, you did. That the big syphilis test.
When they did all those experiments in Africa, because it's
King Leopold. When King Leopold was
it's another Fauci crimes against humanity.
Yeah,
but they remember.
But hey, Joe, let's just do one thing. Let's not pick on poor James yet. We haven't gotten him on the show. We can't keep directing everything towards him. We'll never get him on. You're gonna scare him before he even gets here.
You're gonna scare. He's easily scared. He's very scared.
Yeah.
No, he's not. Stop. The problem with liberals is every time you bring actual facts into the picture, their argument falls apart. right? So we're supposed to ignore the truth, ignore all the facts, and let's just keep repeating the rhetoric that we're hearing because, what did James just say, right? I want to get this guy on the show. Oh, it would take 20 shows to figure out the crimes that Trump did. Yeah, but he didn't do them while he was president. And you got to understand something. Trump was a multi-billion-dollar contractor in New York City. There is no way you're building a building in New York City. Did anybody ever see Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield? And he's in the office with the teacher teaching economics, and they're trying to build a fake corporation. And the guy says, he interrupts and he says, what about the payoffs? And what about the Teamsters Union and all this? And the teacher says, our class does not include mafia payoffs and bribes and all this stuff. He says, now where should we build our fantasy land and our factory? And Rodney Dangerfield says fantasy land or something to that effect. Basically, Trump was a contractor in New York City, and you got to deal with the Teamsters and you got to deal with the building inspectors and whatnot. So I'm sure the guy had to make payoffs and he's dirty. I get it.
Joe,
this guy had no reason whatsoever to be president of the United States while he's running his billions of dollars worth of buildings, Trump buildings everywhere. The guy's losing a fortune to be president because he loves his country. He had no hidden agenda. Biden, on the other hand, it's an entire hidden agenda. This guy's been, like Vinny said, in politics for 47 years, has accomplished nothing. Kamala Harris, his vice president, clearly stated that she believed every word of the woman who accused him of sexual misconduct, yet that's not a problem when she got picked for VP. The whole Democrat Party is full of it.
Joe, I got to jump in. Let me tell you something. In 1979 or 1969, the FBI moved their headquarters from East 69th Street and 3rd Avenue to 26 Federal Plaza. The moving company that moved them was mob owned. Okay, you do business in New York City. You can't bet every company you do business. Now the other thing is the U.S. courthouse on 500 Pearl Street, which is absolutely gorgeous. Half the subcontractors that built that were mob affiliated.
Well,
So,
what's that got to do with
you can't build in New York City or any big city without getting some of these people in there.
But why are we talking about that?
Because they're claiming that Trump is a crook because
Trump is a crook. You know what? He may be whatever. He's not a nice guy. His tweets are terrible. All this other stuff. He was good for the country. That's all I care about. I don't have to go to bed with the guy at night. I don't have to be friends with him. All I care about is that he was good for our country. He brought the country together. You know how they say the rising tide lifts all ships? He did more for the African American community without even thinking about it than Joe Biden has done in his entire life just talking about it.
I'm gonna say something that might be not all that well received by everybody necessarily, but this
not you.
No, how could you say that?
But some of the liberals might be happy to hear me say this. Is I think that Trump did a lot of great things for this country. However, one of the things that I think he did that may have been the best thing is he brought a lot of the he brought a lot to the surface that was happening on both sides. He brought up to the surface a lot of the corruption, a lot of the nefarious agendas, a lot of the the overarching, for lack of a better word, deep state types of initiatives that were
Drain the swamp.
Yeah, we can call it the swamp. There's many ways to label it.
He pissed everybody off.
A lot of people thought that he was coming to drain the swamp, and they're upset that he didn't drain the swamp. But I'll tell you something: when you drain a swamp, what are you left with? You're left with the swamp creatures, right?
Yeah. Right,
and I think he really made those swamp creatures very visible, and he brought to the surface a lot of the issues that have been buried under all that mud and all that crud that we now have to face, we need to tackle. And these things are, what I keep saying is that, in terms of ideology, philosophically, I'm very much conservative. I do not hide that. I do not mince that. However, I recognize that politics is politics. And what we are up against right now is a very fast track towards some very unfavorable to this country type policies. We're seeing it being ushered in under the guise of, medical concerns. But as I think I tweeted it months ago, medical tyranny is still tyranny. And, I tweeted this a few months ago also, is that what they do is I call them the powers that be, they align through the ideology of the left, but they advance their agenda through the right, while the right is saying the words that patriots want to hear. And they do that because, the patriots are the ones who are going to rise up and, hold their ground and stand for the American principle. What I'm hoping is a silver lining maybe of Trump is that more people were motivated and inspired to stand for American principles and put America first. This is not about, what letter, is next to the candidate, because the unfortunate thing that we are seeing, this is the unfortunate reality, is that a lot of even Republicans who were supposed to be, honoring certain policies and values that the constituents had elected them to represent have not. And they have furthered, certain agendas that may be globalistic or socialistic, and they have not served us. So what we really need to start doing as Americans is we need to start standing for American sovereignty, American principles, America first. We need to get our nation back into a strong liberty and strong, powerful, cohesive place. And we need to start bringing our local politics back to the forefront. We need to start taking individual responsibility, personal accountability, and taking control of things like our health and not leaving them to corrupt officials.
Let me jump in there for you. I'm going to use Joe's words about this perfect world kind of thing, because what Trump actually did was he screamed and did his normal Trump stuff. I'm going to do this and I'm going to drain the swamp. And he ran on this thing. And what he did actually do was he didn't do anything, to tell you the truth. He did not bring this up to the forefront. He just sat back and watched. The Democrats freaked out immediately. And they went into panic mode. And they went, and instead of sitting back and saying, hey, you know what? Let's do this, and we'll worry about what we can deal later. They immediately went on the defensive, and then they went on the attack. And by going on the attack, they showed who they really were. And they showed what was really going on. And then they got exposed, and then they panicked because they don't know how to close this exposure, so they're screwed. Because we're now going into this whole thing. And the problem we have now is not we're not going to get where everyone's standing up for America, because now everybody wants to prove that that side is wrong. So any conservative stuff, once it comes out of your mouth, it's wrong. I mean, they're doing things that have never been done before. They're attacking churches.
They've been done. They're using the same tactics. They're absolutely using. This is, when you're talking, they shut down anything that comes from a conservative voice. That's literally Herbert Marcuse's 1967 repressive tolerance. Liberal intolerance. This is not new, and this even precedes that. I mean,
but it's not new, Courtney, but it hasn't been something that was popular as it is now.
It was. It absolutely was popular. The problem is that it is now becoming more transparent. They were so good at hiding it and suppressing it, but it's not new.
Because if it came out, they immediately got shut down or prosecuted. I mean, remember all the trials that they had about this, and all the people. If they thought you were a communist or a socialist, you were blacklisted. You all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was in a corner. Now it's not only mainstream; they're actually saying that they should be.
Right, but so they just switched the words. Back then, they would, do it under the guise of socialism. Now they're openly saying they're communism, or they would do it under the guise of being social justice warriors or political correct. This is Derrida. They just change the wording and they manipulate language. They manipulate language as a means of propaganda.
Yes, and the problem is they're not teaching anybody, the kids or anything, so they're stupid and they're following things that they have no idea what they're talking about.
It all sounds wonderful.
Useful idiots, absolutely.
That's right.
Listen, it all sounds wonderful. Let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, but that's not the reality of the world we live in right this minute.
Joe, you're a liberal. You're a liberal hippie, Joe. That's all I'm going to say.
I swear to God,
you're a liberal hippie, and you're disgusting.
I swear to God. Listen,
okay.
Ed, you and I had this argument 3 weeks ago.
No, we have this argument every time I look at you. What are you talking about?
But listen, there will be a world one day when we all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. That's not the world we live in right now.
We're going to go to shameless plugs. So
yes, where are the shameless plugs, by the way?
We're going to go to shameless plugs. Actually, Vinny, let's do shameless plugs first.
This one's really long. I got to read this. Hold on. Trump left office after.
Anthony, we're going to do shameless.
Can I read? Listen, guys, you see the text that we have on the screen?
No.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Okay,
I got to read this one.
I want to read it. No, I'll read it. Many people say the group has lost some of its sense of purpose since Mr. Trump left office. After his 2020 defeat, the former president lied for months that the election had been stolen, and Proud Boys fought to overturn his defeat. But after Mr. Trump decamped for Mar-a-Lago, it became unclear how to keep up the fight.
Hold on a second. All right, can I respond to that? Can I respond to that?
No, don't.
Hold on. Let me just 2 seconds. I swear to God. Trump supporters and the people that love the United States of America have not been not even 1% put down by any of this. Donald Trump is still the leader of the Republican Party, and he's going to be for a while. Now, he may not run in 2024, but here's my prediction. This is being recorded, so you guys have it for posterity. If Trump runs in 2024, he will win. If he doesn't run in 2024, which I advised against it because he's got better things to do and he does not deserve what he's getting, whoever Trump recommends, endorses in 2024 will absolutely win.
Ron DeSantis.
I'm thinking Ron DeSantis and Candace Owens.
Oh, what a
no,
team.
No. Candace Owens is wonderful, but she belongs in the culture. This is a pet peeve of mine. What is with people? What is especially conservatives? They do this all the time. Somebody's doing a fantastic job where they are, especially when it's in the culture, which is what we really need right now. We are, as a country, our culture is sick. There is a metastasization of culture and morality in this country, and she's doing an excellent job there. She is not primed to be president. She's never been governor. She doesn't do policy.
She's a bit young. She's a little young.
This is not just to, say anything negative about her. I think she's wonderful. I love her voice, but we need her voice where it is. Why would you take her out of that and put her in office?
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm a really bad white supremacist because I just endorsed Candace Owens.
That's just, Joe, we've already known that about you.
Politics is a personality.
Hold on, I have to go back into my white supremacist handbook and study a little bit harder because I'm not doing a good job.
No, excuse me, Joe.
Joe, that's not my point.
No, I wasn't making fun of you, Courtney. Okay. I'm just saying. If every Trump supporter, if every Republican white conservative male is a racist, then why in the world would I even be talking about Candace Owens? She's beautiful, brilliant, and
She is.
exactly what this country needs. Unfortunately, she's a little bit young, so yes, age discrimination. They're going to accuse me of something, so I might as well take that one.
It's actually.
Joe,
She has no experience in politics.
Joe,
Wait, I
I
just
just
want
got
to
to
say.
say one
I
thing,
do
Joe.
say this very quickly. She's doing a great job with the culture, and we need that so badly. So that's more of my point. I don't want to
You know
take
who
something.
else? Hold on a
really
second. How about
need
this
it
one,
in the
guys?
culture.
I have a great presidential ticket. How about Christine Nome
No,
and Candace
she lost
Owens?
her opportunity. She missed it with the whole,
Which
women.
one?
Yeah, but how are the
Nome.
liberals going to fight that one off? Two women, an African American.
You
Take your
guys-
pick. You can roll the dice and decide who wants to be president or vice president.
Hey, can we take a sponsor break right now?
I wanted to do the shameless plugs 10 minutes ago. You let them keep going.
All right, Anthony, do your thing. Okay. So we have to promote my books. We're having a couple book signing parties in the near future. I will let everybody on Facebook and all my personal friends know about it. And we'll have one in New York City, one in the Bronx, and one in Queens. We'll cover all the bases. And I have a fourth book that's coming out. And my daughter, who happens to be a very, very good investigator and is very busy, by the way. And I think she needs help. I really do. Danielle, if you're watching, I think we have to put an ad out. We need a couple female investigators under you. You train them, teach them what I taught you, and you teach them what you know. You're going to be phenomenal. You're very busy. You need help. Oh, happy birthday, Ed and Vinny. Hey, how are you? I love it. Oh,
First of
okay.
all, Vinny, Danielle wouldn't be so busy if she wasn't busy wasting time holding the liberal's hand all day long.
Oh,
Ouch.
that's a low
Ouch.
blow. I mean,
Now
She would have more
Ed
time.
he's probably pissing in his pants right now for this.
Can I say something I just want to address? I think we have to stop playing their game. They are playing this critical race theory game. And so we need to pick the best candidate. I don't care whether they're, pink, blue, purple, whatever. That's not the point. We have to stop arguing things on their premise. You reject their premise. Their premise
I
is
agree 100%.
candidates who are going to represent the founding principles of this country.
I'm sorry. I thought you weren't this way, but you want to go pink. See? Right to the sexist. Right to the female sexist. You see
No,
what I
Ed,
mean?
she's right. She's right.
No.
And Joe, there's one thing I would like that we should do if we're not going to play their game. We should not say that every single Trump supporter is a person who loves America, because even the people who don't love Trump, they love this country too. Not all of them. Most of them want other people to come in, but we got to stop segregating. What we're doing is just
Yeah, but
playing
we're
their
not
game.
the ones doing that.
I know, but we can't fall into their traps.
But you keep doing it. You're the.
I'm
hold
not
on,
the
Ed.
one who said it. You did.
Absolutely. You said 5 shows ago that we need to. Yeah. You said we need to take it easy, otherwise we're going to get steamrolled over.
Right.
And this is not. No, wrong. Because that's how we got here.
No.
That's how we got here.
How we got here was we went in headstrong, and it freaked too many people out,
No,
and
we
they
didn't.
panicked.
No, Ed, 100%. 180. What happened was, listen, the Democrats, the liberals, whatever you want to call them, they come in, they throw accusations out, and people are afraid of being condemned in the media, so they apologize. Perfect. I'll give you a couple of good examples. Perfect examples, right? So right now, we have a border crisis. Does anybody deny that we have a border crisis?
I don't
Hundreds
think
of thousands illegal immigrants coming in here. So what do the Republicans do? And this is what pisses me off about conservative Republicans. They try to say, oh, it's a humanitarian crisis, and the coyotes are taking advantage, and the drug cartels are taking advantage of these poor people, and Biden is letting them make the trip with his message, and it's terrible because these children get separated. No, stop feeding into the liberal bullshit. They're breaking the law. They're illegal immigrants. Stop them, send them back. I don't care if they're kids or parents or whatever. They don't belong here without the proper paperwork and the due process of law. But yet, Republicans are afraid of being vilified, so they play their game, like Courtney said. And as long as we play the game their way, we're going to lose every time. Everybody keeps saying about the AR-15s and the guns, and we're like, oh, it's a good hunting rifle. No, it's not. It's an extremely efficient killing machine, and it is the right of every American to have one or build one, and that's what the Constitution was designed. We try to say, oh, but you could use it for this. When we try to play their game their way, we're already lost. We've already lost.
Right.
Okay,
Stop
so now,
playing the game their way and tell them flat out you've hit a brick wall.
Let's clear this up. Okay, first of all, laying low does not mean rolling over. Second of all, right now, you can't do shit, excuse the French, because no matter what is being said or done is going to be twisted. So if everything I say to you, for argument's sake, you turn around and you report to everybody else something completely different, why am I going to keep talking if the only time I talk and you listen is to turn around and lie about what I'm going to say? So I'm going to sit back and wait. Let me finish. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to play the game and wait. I'm not saying roll over, but, you know, it doesn't matter what's right or wrong. The way things are right now, it's this way. If it was a Republican that said it, or a conservative, or Trump, it's wrong. And they're going to say it's wrong no matter what is, whether it's right or wrong. They're going to play it up 1,000 times. Just like you said, Kamala Harris, she's in charge of this crisis. You know, she's been to Canada's border before she's been to Mexico's border. However, she has had conversations with the Mexican president about global warming, but nothing about immigration.
They're afraid to talk about it. They're afraid.
If we bring this up, it's just Republican rhetoric. It's a Trump. They're trying to make our president look bad. No matter what we do, or no matter what anybody does contrary to that, they don't want to be wrong, and they're going to do all the damage control. And unfortunately, they have. But now they're all backtracking. We don't have to do anything. They're getting nailed themselves, and they're backtracking. Look at the whole thing with the pandemic, as I said in the beginning. Now they're all saying, well, maybe what Trump was saying wasn't exactly wrong, or maybe what was happening.
Well,
we don't have to fight them. The truth is going to come out eventually. Why are we going to give them more ammunition?
But you have to look at what was the reason, right? So, that's a really good example. So one of the things that Trump was talking about was hydroxychloroquine, and that was banned and censored, and all social media, all the doctors who talked about it got shut down and taken down. What was the reason for that? We're now seeing in the Fauci emails, he knew that it worked and it was effective. It's been around for 70 years. It's cheap and accessible. Here's the reason. You have to look at the end goal. The reason is because he wanted to ram the emergency use authorization in so that he can push these, experimental injections into people. And he could not do that legally if there was an accessible, affordable, effective treatment. And that's
but he also used it to get the funding back for his little side thing that was going on that we now just pumped $1 billion somewhat dollars into, that was cut off before, because he said, why are we going to stop funding all this money? If you remember in the beginning, Fauci and Trump were right in line with everything. And then all of a sudden, Trump goes, wait, why are we spending all this money if they screwed us like this, and pulled all the funding? And then the next thing you know, Fauci's going this way and Trump is going this way.
Okay, hold on. Ed, can I just jump in 2 seconds? I promise it'll be short.
I'm counting.
So we got the COVID-19. Damn it, stop that. So COVID-19 affects the elderly and people with underlying conditions, right? Nobody has ever disputed that from the very
Obesity.
beginning.
No, that's not true. The obesity is one of the strongest comorbidity correlation, and they are suppressing that like crazy.
Hold on.
And
that's
now
an
you're
underlying-
attacking
hold
the
on,
fat people
I
like
didn't
me.
lie. I said that's an underlying condition.
First you go with pink, now you want to attack us fat people.
But it's the strongest one in the media.
Now we're going to get in trouble with the fat people.
Yeah.
Governor Ron DeSantis protected the nursing homes, protected the people with underlying conditions and the elderly, right? And left the businesses open. But yet the media and the Democrats wanted to shut everything down for their control. And
Right.
Trump was against that from day one. Fauci was against him. The argument went back and forth, back and forth. But the bottom line is this. From day one of this pandemic, we should have locked down the nursing homes, protected the elderly and those with underlying conditions, those with obesity, those with diabetes, heart conditions. The people who would be most impacted by COVID should have been quarantined and protected, and the rest of us should have gotten on with our lives. It didn't go that way, but it wasn't because of Donald Trump. So now we're sitting here and everybody's agreeing to all of this, but yet the media is still saying that we should wear masks even if you're vaccinated. Tell me where Donald Trump was wrong on any of his points, and I will. If you can explain that to me.
Just so you know, Joe, that one little line was wrong. We got this way because of Trump. Because Trump was saying one thing and everybody else just didn't want to listen and they went the opposite way.
Right.
If Trump would have said, we need to close actually, I'm sorry, forgive me, but Trump did say we need to lock down, and Pelosi and them were out there, and so was de Blasio saying, no, come on the subways, it's fine. No, come to Chinatown.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, I remember.
And then once he said we shouldn't lock down, all of a sudden it's, he didn't do enough. We need to lock down. So, yeah, this is what I was trying to say.
By the way, Biden's also taking credit for the vaccine. I understand. He's making some.
You know who said it best? You guys all know Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
Sean Hannity said on many of his shows, he's very repetitious. He said if Donald Trump cured cancer, that the liberals would get on his crap because he put all the oncologists out of business.
Yeah. Okay, so Courtney, did you get vaccinated?
No. Did you read my article on it?
No. Vinny, did you?
No.
Okay, why?
Because I don't feel it's necessary. I have good immune system. I believe that you're going to destroy whatever a good immune system you have by putting this in.
Joe, I know you didn't get it.
Yeah.
But why? Did. Oh, you did?
I did because my parents are 84 years old, and I really, really wanted to go visit them. And I was afraid that if I brought something into the house, I could kill my father, who has survived all manner of horrible things. And I didn't want to be the reason he died, so I got vaccinated for my parents.
Even
that
though
was the longest yes or no I've ever heard in my life.
Yes, I am fully vaccinated. Yes.
All right. So I had this conversation.
Even though all the studies show that it does not prevent you from getting COVID, catching COVID, or sharing COVID.
Yeah, you can still get
it. Here was my conversation I had with somebody the other day about this, because he was yelling at me that I wasn't vaccinated. And I said to him, I'm not anti-vax at all, but I'm going to sit back and wait. We've had 40 years, and they couldn't come up with anything to help AIDS. Cancer's been around for 100 years, right? But they come up with this vaccine in 1 year.
9 months. 9 months.
A year. 3 months.
9 months.
Okay, now I've had friends of mine who say, oh, they were only going to take the Johnson & Johnson. And I'm like, no way. And they're like, why not? I says, they fucked us up. They screwed us up with baby powder. You think I'm going to, baby powder? You think I'm going to trust them to pump something into my blood? I says, I'm not anti-vax, but I'm going to wait. And they said, well, you can't wait. By then, the risks outweigh. I said, no. I says, do you remember that PrEP that the greatest medicine that came out was PrEP, and they pumped it out there, and they were making everyone take PrEP, and then what happened? Oh, we got to take it off the market because it's giving everybody bone cancer, and they're all breaking their bones in 3 months.
Yep.
All right,
That's right.
and they came out with another PrEP. So I'm sorry, I understand this whole vaccinating thing, but I just really would. It's not anti-vax. I want to wait to see what's happening because nobody ever gets anything
Not
done.
a vaccine. There's
not.
nothing about this injection that is a vaccine.
Okay.
There are 3 different types. Nothing about this is a vaccine. The Janssen one has something similar because it has an adenovirus from monkeys and chimpanzees, but they use that virus as a nanolipid encasement for the genetic coding for the spike protein to then send viral vector into your DNA, which then sends messages to your own messenger RNA and then to replicate through the RNA to create a spike factor.
Courtney, hold on. The whole thing, just give me a second here. Ed, you're right. Courtney, you're right. I agree with everybody. Here's the thing. It's America. It's a free country. You want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated. I did. Courtney, you did not. And you did not. It is your right. Here's what's not your right. Here's what's not your right. You don't have the right to tell me I have to get vaccinated and to show proof of it. And you don't have the right to make me do anything. So when they tell me I can't walk into the airport because I'm not vaccinated, I'll drive. And if I can't go to Europe, I won't go. But you can't make American people do something they don't want to do. And that's what the Democrat Party is trying to do right this minute.
Joe,
Control.
I respect your opinion not to get vaccinated.
It's all about control. It's about control.
Right.
It's about, by the way, the vaccine, in my opinion, at this stage, it's experimental. So right now it's a placebo. It just keeps people quiet. Okay. People with the vaccination.
You let poor Courtney. She's gonna burst over here.
Yes. So this is what I want to say is that I think there's 2 separate conversations here. So Joe, absolutely, I think that if people want to drink poison, that is their prerogative. However, if you're somebody I care about, I would want you to be informed about what is in that and that it is actually poison and that it could be toxic. And so that's what I think, that's what I take issue with is they're calling it a vaccine, which is very misleading to people. People historically have a notion of what vaccines do, and people who, especially people who are immersed in the scientific world, they know vaccines to be one thing. This is not that. This is something totally different. So there are 2 concerns. One is that people are getting misinformation. The true information is being suppressed. And so people can't adequately adjudicate their risk versus reward because they aren't being told the full risk. So that's the first concern. I'm sorry, Joe, to have come at you like that.
No, I'm not arguing with you. I am not arguing with you.
Okay, my second concern.
All I'm saying is, you have a right.
Yes, I agree with you. The second concern is the passport. There is under no circumstance should there be any sort of jurisdiction over whether or not somebody, can or cannot take something. That is their prerogative. If they want,
and if you don't want to take the vaccine, that is your right as an American citizen.
And
what I'm just trying to say here,
for it.
What I'm trying to say here is, you can't impose your will upon me.
They've been doing it for how long?
Let me cut it.
Joe, how long have we been doing that? Everything that's been going on the last 40 years has been exactly that.
Well, you know what? It's time for that to stop.
Look,
we
I'll give you a perfect example. Can you go anywhere and smoke a cigarette anymore?
But yeah, okay, hold on a second. I was a smoker. No, I agree with you. I was a smoker. I used to smoke. No problem. But I hated, even when I smoked, even when I was a smoker, sitting in a restaurant and having some guy at the table next to me blow smoke in my face while I'm eating my steak. I didn't like that. So that was for the good of all. And you could.
So because you agreed with it, it was okay. But you were still letting them impose the will. So, It's the same thing, Joe.
Yeah, but you're turning it around. You're turning
Oh,
it
am
around.
I?
As a
Guys,
smoker,
wait.
I
Time out.
could
Hey,
still.
hey, let
They
me
didn't
interrupt.
tell me. They didn't
Anthony,
tell
let me
me I
interrupt.
can't smoke. I just had to go outside, which is
All right,
fine.
guys,
You can't do that.
Anthony, Joe, Ed, let me talk. Okay, number one,
No.
we
Only
have
yourself.
we have laws on the book where women can have abortions because they're in charge of their own body. We agree on that?
Not their body, though.
Wait. I'm not pro or against abortion. I'm just saying that that's the argument. The liberals make the argument that I control my own body. I can do what I want to do. Well, the same thing applies to us. That if you don't want to get a vaccination, if you feel that your immune system is strong enough, you don't have to get it. I believe that this is a placebo. They have not made this 100%. FDA has not approved it 100%. It's experimental. You can't sue them if you have an adverse effect, like 30,000 people.
I can answer that question.
No, Pamela, she did not say that the vaccine was poison. She was using drinking poison as a metaphor of being able to do what you wanted to do. She was not spreading
I'm not
misinformation.
arguing with that. What I'm saying is that
Not
we
you,
have
Joe.
control of our body. We can say what we want to do with our bodies. Now, also on the HIPAA law, someone cannot ask you if you've been vaccinated. It's against the federal law.
Not anymore. Nobody's listening to the Constitution. Vinny, where have you been?
Make that argument. Now, the other day, I went to see. I had a doctor's appointment. I went to a medical building. I had to wear a mask. I said, I lied. I said I've been vaccinated because I don't care if you're vaccinated 4th time. You got to wear a mask when you come into medical procedure. Okay, out of respect, I did it. Okay,
Vinny, let's talk about that HEPA law thing that you just said.
Yeah,
they can turn around. You're right. Legally, they can't ask you if you're vaccinated, but it's their business or their place. They can say, "Well, I'm not going to ask you if you're vaccinated, but I'm not sure, so I'm not going to let you in."
Right.
But I can
And
lie.
that's how they're doing this.
But I can lie and say I'm vaccinated. They can't ask me.
And they're not allowed to ask for proof because legally they can't. But then they turn around and say, "Well, if you're not going to listen, when I go into places to eat, they want me to sign my name and put my telephone number in case someone gets sick."
Right.
Let me tell you, I've invented more telephone numbers and more names in the last couple of weeks.
They never call.
Because
it's another way of controlling us. They want to control us.
Is it perfect? Listen, a private business has every right to say if you don't have a vaccine or you don't have a mask, you can't come in here. But don't forget, as a citizen and as a customer, you have every right not to endorse or patronize that business.
Right.
Correct.
We got 1 minute left.
Okay, so just to go back to your abortion thing. Wait, to go back to your abortion thing, there's two things on that one. Because
Anthony had posted the link to my article, but to answer Pamela's question.
It's gonna backtrack because yes, the liberal women say, oh, they can do that because it's their body, and you're 100% correct. And they're the same people who about 10 years ago was screaming this anti-vax because they didn't want their kids to get vaccinated in schools, and that they felt that they should. But they're the same ones screaming you need to get vaccinated now.
Hypocrites. They're hypocrites.
It's not hypocrites. It's what Joe just did before. It was because he agreed with it, so the rules are okay. But if he didn't agree to it, you see him jumping up and down, going, "You can't do that."
Okay, guys, we got a message here. Quick. That means we gotta go. Hey, listen.
We were late. We get extra time.
Hey, Ed, start the zit. You understand Italian?
No.
Start the zit.
I'm a liberal. I don't understand that.
Oh, no, you're not a liberal. You're on my show. You're not a liberal. The only liberals that we have are the ones that call in and won't come on the show.
There's my article for anybody who wants to.
Truth Matters. Remember, Courtney's got a show called Truth Matters. And you guys, all the people that watch this show should watch her show. How would they get on your show? Facebook or YouTube? What is it?
So my show, the website that has my articles, truthmatters.biz, has links to the Courtney Turner podcast, and it's on YouTube, it's on Apple, it's on Podbean, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio.
Beautiful.
Woohoo.
Okay, guys, I want to thank you all. As we say on Arthur Avenue, Sempre Noi, always with us. And next week, guys, I want you to give me some feedback on who you want to talk about next week. Okay. All right. Washington is scrambling to re-examine the origin of the virus after Wall Street Journal reported on intelligence indicating Chinese researchers in the Wuhan lab were hospitalized for symptoms similar of COVID-19. In November 2019, weeks before anyone knew a coronavirus was spreading, Biden today released an unusual statement revealing he has ordered a review amongst intelligence agencies about the source of the pandemic. Yesterday, Health and Human Resources Secretary Javier Baba, what happened to Javier? Where's the rest of this?
They gave him 90 days to come up
I
with
saw
it.
that. I saw the article.
Vinny,
I know
I
what you're
have to
talking
say
about.
I'm a liberal, or I'm never going to get your daughter to hold my hand.
You're
No,
not a
hold-
liberal.
James
You're a
Ed-
libertarian.
James
I
Ed-
want her to hold my hand. Shut up, you. Go smoke.
Hey, listen, James Edstrom is a dear friend of mine. He's got no balls to come on the show, but he's still a dear friend of mine. I just said that to piss him off. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. It's like the other
She's
day.
going to be consoling him for hours now.
You are lower than human being. You want him on the show, he won't come on. So you have to expect this. Everybody can't love us. Or can they? All right, listen. I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I'm having fun. Are you having fun, Courtney?
Good.
We're having a blast.
We're matching.
Funniest show yet.
We are. We're matching blue.
We're blue. Well, and Joe is red.
Yes,
So
we're
his
blue.
all right, next week,
Yeah,
everybody's going to wear pink.
right.
We're all going to wear pink next week. Eddie, you're going to wear pink next week.
Yeah, because
Well, if Courtney comes here, well, actually, I can't. I have no clothes left. Nothing fits anymore. I have to go. I'll go buy a pink shirt for her.
What
but
about
my
the
favorite
color?
color is actually purple.
I have a
Purple?
purple shirt.
I
There we
got
go.
purple. I can do
I don't
purple.
have purple. I'll buy
We'll
it.
all wear
Let's do
purple next week.
Purple. Yay.
I will wear a purple shirt next week. How's that?
But Courtney,
Okay.
you have to wear a purple tiara.
Purple tiara. I don't
Yes.
know. I have to get a purple tiara. I don't have a purple tiara.
Well, if I've got to get a purple shirt, you got to get a purple tiara.
All right, I'll look into that.
Or we should make Vinny wear it, actually. But
What do you want me to wear?
purple tiara.
I'll wear anything. It won't stick on my head. I have no hair. A tiara, you got to put in your hair. I got to glue it. I got to use Gorilla Glue. Then I can't take it off. I'm in
Quit
trouble.
while you're behind.
I think we over.
Yeah.
Just kind of
Yeah, really, Vinny? That ADHD kicking in big time
Just
over that.
because you danced with me last night doesn't mean that I'm going to wear women's clothes or women's jewelry.
What are you talking about? You proposed to me after the dance.
Not in public.
Damn.
No, we had a lot of jokes. Listen, guys, you missed the big party last night, but you can come to this book signing. We're going to have a lot of book signing. Matter of fact, we went to Vivid last night. You know what Vivid is? Vivid is a gentleman's club, and there's no gentleman.
I didn't go. I did not go.
I know, you didn't go. I went. I had to go. They
I had a bottle and a half of tequila. I wasn't going anywhere
want me
near
to do
anything that was
but I'm
going to
not
make me
gonna do it
spend
there.
more money.
You're still alive.
And we're going to do Wounded Warriors. Oh, Joe, Ed, you got to call the woman from Wounded
I
Warriors.
did.
Okay, and
I talked to her today.
oh, good. And we're all good with that. You have a date?
Yes.
What? No, not with her. Do you have a date? She's
Oh,
married.
I can't tell you that.
The-
We can't discuss that.
oh, okay. We have too many witnesses here, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sleep good tonight. I'm tired. I'm beat. Last night Rick killed me. Dancing like a fool. I didn't drink like him. He drinks like a fish.
I do not.
Yes, you did. And
Have you ever seen a fish drink?
No, they just
Okay,
they
so-
piss in the ocean, but they do piss in the ocean.
Hey, Vin, I don't know if you remember that the first night we went out I'm not even going to mention it. And we were at a place which I'm not going to mention the name. And I ordered a bottle of tequila, and the fucking bill came back, and it was like $600 for that bottle. Remember that? I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
Well, you know what, Joe, that's common. When you go to any of these clubs, like, all right, give me an example. One of the girls invited us to a birthday party at the Revel, which is a beautiful nightclub in Long Island City. We get there, and the guy says, okay, you got to go upstairs. He says, but you got to buy a bottle. I said, wait a minute, I'm a guest. Oh, no, every man at the table has to buy a bottle. No, I'm not a big...
And the bottles are $500-$600.
I'm going to get blasted. If I drink I got to drink a whole bottle of vodka. It's $400. So, and my friend Chris showed up. We told the guy, said, listen, we just came here to say hello. We have a gift for the woman. But every guy has to buy a bottle.
Yes, this is a fascinating conversation. Do we want to take it offline?
What was it?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
What'd she say?
Say it again.
I missed it.
Oh, I said we're still live. I was wondering if you wanted to take this conversation offline.
Give your closing argument.
My closing argument. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
What happened to Semper Noy? Whatever.
He said that an hour ago.
Not paying attention.